Okay guys, this is the visible and invisible braiding today. We're gonna see if we can, well, maybe. I might need a stool or a ladder, step stool to be able to do this.
Do you want me to put it down? I can bring it down.
We're gonna bring it down a little.
Arm strength.
Got
There
it.
you go.
There we go. Ah. Okay. So what we're doing today is we are doing a visible braid and an invisible braid. This is your visible,
Hey Google.
so you can see it on the top of the head. Okay? Everybody see? This is your visible. Your invisible is its inside. It doesn't lay on the top, it's under. Okay? Can everybody see? You girls in the back, can you see? Yeah? Mariah, can you see? Okay. The demo date is January 25th. You have 3 days. So today counts as 2 or a day and a half. And then you guys are here Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week. It'll be due by Wednesday. Okay, because that's 2 days, and then today's going to be split because we're going to do some theory. You will split your mannequin and do both braids on one mannequin. So you won't do the full head. You're going to do one on one side, one on the other. It is your choice. It is your preference. If you start doing the visible on the left and you just are really struggling, you can try to do it on the right and vice versa. Okay? Your supplies that you're going to need. You're going to need a brush to brush your client's hair. Okay? So I have a vent brush. You are also going to need our famous standard comb. This is how you get your parting into your mannequin's head. Remember, using your thumb on the top part of the comb, excuse me, that's where you will part the head. We're doing a straight part using the midpoint of the nose and between the eyebrows as your guide. That's where you'll start because that's the middle of your client or guest. That's the middle of their head. You are going to take it the whole way back and end at the nape of the neck. Separate your hair. You will need butterfly clips. I would say 3 or 4 in case you drop some. You will need elastic rubber bands, hair rubber bands, not the ones that we put on our pieces of paper. They come in clear, they come in black, they come in rainbow. We have clear and we have black. If you have a lighter hair mannequin, you would use the clear. If you have a dark haired mannequin, you could use the black, or you could use whatever your preference is. There is clear on this one. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you want to use. I just recommend clear because you don't see the black ones up against the blonde or platinum hair. It just blends a little bit better. You will use a wax or pomade. It's for gripping. It helps. You do not need a lot of it. When you start this service, the very first thing that you are going to do is you are going to sanitize your hands because you will be touching your client's head. Do you have a question? Oh, okay. That's okay. So we are going to start with the invisible braid. This is Mrs. Gockel's arch nemesis. I do not like doing these, but I do them. I like doing the visible because my daughter played softball for years. She was in cheer and she did gymnastics. So that is the braid that we had to do all of the time. So when you're constantly doing one type of braid, you lose your muscle memory on doing the other braid. I always want to go over instead of under. So that's why we're going to practice from now until you graduate school. We're doing both so that your hands and your muscles refer those messages back to your brain and it becomes muscle memory to you. Okay, everything you do here with the repetition becomes muscle memory. We don't do it just to be mean. We do it so that you get that skill and your timing gets faster, partings get faster, everything goes a lot quicker because you're constantly repeating it. It's repetition, sanitation, that is extremely important as well. So when you are doing this, these braids, both of them, are 3 strands. We will be doing later on advanced techniques with multiple strands of hair. There are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can even get up to 9 strand braids. Okay, these 2 are 3 strands. So the first step that you're going to do is you are going to section your client's hair. Taking your sectioning comb, you're going to start. Time out. Gotta go a little lower. Sorry. I'm re-sanitizing my hands because I touched the tripod. We're going to take our sectioning comb. If I were you, I would grab 1 or 2 extra in case if you drop it because you're nervous or hand slips, or when you start to section, if you have any products on your hands, you might drop the comb. So have a couple on your station. Start from the mid nose, tip of the nose. You're going to follow the bridge of the nose. You're going to follow between the eyebrows and start it where the hairline is and work your way down till you get to the nape of the neck. Okay? So you're just going to section and you're just going to go. And yes, I am actually sectioning this because I want to make it a little bit straighter. Just take section. You're not going to be able to go one swoop. You're going to have to take baby steps. If you try to get one, you're going to put a big knot in that hair and tangle it. Okay? So baby steps, taking it down, moving the hair out of the way. I'm starting on the left side, so I'm pushing that hair to the left side of the head. Okay? I like to do a light spritz of water, and when I say light, very light. Like that's it, that little bit, okay? Put a little bit on my hand. I start moving the hair back to where I want the braid to form. So her hair is not damp by any means. It is just a light spritz. If you notice the flyaways, they're already smoother than on the other side, okay? I'm then going to take my product. Can you grab me a spatula? You will need a spatula or a wood stick. You don't want to stick your finger in the product. Why don't you want to stick your finger in the product? Yes, it's very unsanitary. So please don't take your fingers like in a peanut butter jar and stick your fingers in there and scrape it all out. You don't want to do that. Remember, every step that you do is for sanitation, okay? You will have stuff on the outsides of your product container. Just wipe that up with a Kleenex before you put the lid back on, because if you're putting stuff back on, the lid back on, and there's product around, that's gonna dry, it's gonna harden, it's gonna be harder to open, so you don't wanna do that. This is for educational purposes. You do not need a spoon this large to grab out, but you're just going to dip in. Do you see that little bit that I have on the tip? You just need a small amount of product. It goes a very long way. I'm just going to, without touching my skin, drop that product on the back of my hand. Remember, this is sanitary because I already used hand sanitizer. I will be gripping the hair and taking the product as I grip. Can you girls see everything from back there? Okay. I'm taking a little bit of product, just fingertips, and I'm rubbing it through my braiding fingers, okay? My pinkies always stay up, I don't know why. It's like they don't know how to go down, so you'll always see my pinkies up when I braid, unless if I'm using them to grip the hair. I passed the throwsies on to Mrs. Rosicky.
It's gravitational pull.
So what we're doing is we're taking the first section of hair, and I smooth that product onto the hair, so it's already on there. And I'm grabbing, making it into 3 sections, okay? So I have 3 sections. Right here, can everybody see? 3 sections. And then I'm going to move, always crossing to the center. So I'm starting left. You guys will start right. Jessica, you'll start left because you're left-handed. You're going to go under your center. Okay, so we're gonna say 1, 2, 3. Number 1 is going to go under the center, and it now becomes my center. Number 3 is going to go under my center, okay? Then I'm going to grab another section under my center. I'm going to bring it around. So you literally are going under, left, under, right, under, left. You're always pulling that center. And you just keep going back and forth, back and forth. Okay? That's the motion that you do. You go back and forth. So it always goes under your center. Under your center. Okay? Yes. I forgot to tell you guys that. I'm sorry. If you're like me, you're going to start over 2 or 3 times because you don't like the look of it. So I'm very picky with how my lines are and how things look. So then you're gonna grab and go where your center is. Do you see how it's starting to form? Oh. Do you see how you can't see it? It's not up on the scalp, it's not raised, it's under the head. Okay? So it's gonna lay under, those pieces are going to be under where you need it, where your center is. every time you move down, you're gonna grab another section of the hair, moving left to right or right to left, okay? If you're right-handed, you're more likely gonna go right to left. If you're left-handed, you're gonna go left to right, moving over the center, okay? This one is your invisible. You're not going to see it. So you're gonna take it, and you're gonna keep grabbing a section, still keeping it 3 pieces. You are connecting to whatever section is on your left-hand side or your right-hand side. You're going to connect and bring that in. That's how you bring all these pieces in. So now I'm going to my right side and I'm grabbing another section of hair. You want to make sure your sections are nice and clean. You don't want messy sections for a braid. It's very nice, very clean. If you need more product, you have that on the back of your hand. You just grab more product and you go. And you just keep adding hair into your section.
Are you
What?
putting it over the middle?
This one goes over, like you're going over. When you do under pushes the hair up, over pushes it down. And you just keep going until you get to the bottom of the hair. If you don't like it, you can take it out and try again. Can you girls see in the back how we're doing this braid? So you can see how I'm doing it? Just want to make sure. Does anybody have any questions? What happens if I'm halfway through and I don't like the way it looks? What can I do? Somebody that doesn't answer questions. Let's get somebody else. Maya, what do you do if you don't like it? Restart. Very good. Do you make equal sections? Yeah. When you get down to the nape, you're still going to try to keep your sections as neat as possible. Do you see how I have pieces underneath? I just want to make sure I'm not taking that bottom until I'm ready to go. And I apologize, but this is not bending. When you get to the bottom, you will have 3 strands of hair. 3 strands on the bottom. I probably just messed my braid completely up by flipping her upside down. You don't want to flip your mannequin upside down. I'm just doing this to show you that I have 3 strands now that I'm down to the bottom of the braid. Then you just go left over center, right over center, left over center, right over center. If you don't like a part of it, you can start up closer and restart that bottom section. You want to always go left over center or right over center. Okay, that's how you get that braid in there. So you do left over center, right over center, left over center, right over center. It is a repetitious motion. You go left, right, or right, left. You always, God bless you, go over your center. That's how you get your braid at the very bottom. You take it down as far as you can humanly braid. You don't want to leave 4 inches of hair out. You want to take it as close to their ends as you possibly can. Please, when you are using the gum band, please do not put it in your mouth and pull it. That is just like the bobby pins. We don't put anything in our mouth. That is very unsanitary. You just keep going. I like to put a little bit of product on the very end so it's not frizzy and it gets nice and smooth in one piece. I'm taking my gum bands, and you can use both hands to open that up, and then you're going to wrap it around. I did mess it up. I should go back in and redo that. I made her hair a little wonky when I flipped her upside down. I probably shouldn't have done that. I won't do that on the next side. So everything is underneath. There is no on top of the head. It's all underneath. Okay? All underneath. I'm going to redo that one before I put it up on the station. Does anybody have any questions on that one before I move on to the next one? Since these are our demo ones, I want to make sure I get it nice and smooth. I don't want to leave that one up for people to use as a reference. See, we go through the same struggles that you guys go through with the mannequin stand. The good thing with a human being is their necks don't come off. So their heads stay on.
Unless you're on The Walking Dead.
Well, yeah, unless you're on The Walking Dead, and then hopefully you keep your head for like 2 seconds. Mrs. Rozicki is still watching that, so. If you have any questions about it, please seek help from Mrs. Rozicki. I do not like The Walking Dead, so I don't watch it. This one is called a visible braid. A visible braid is obviously visible on top of the scalp. We are going to do the same movements that we did, except we're going over. So you're going to see the hair. When you're doing it, if you see it's not popping out on top of the scalp, you know that you're doing the invisible. So you can't see it. We want to make sure we can see this part. I still have product left on the back of my hand, so I'm going to just start with my first section. Gonna smooth it through the hair. We're going to part that into 3 even sections. Why do you think even is important? Anybody know? Yes? I can't hear anything you're saying. Yes, you want to make sure you have even amounts so that the braid is nice and even throughout. You don't want to have really tiny and then big and then tiny and then big. So you want to always try to work with even sections. So I have my 3, I'm going to the middle and I'm crossing over. Okay, so now I have my 3. I'm gripping hair using left to right or right to left. Holding your center, you're going underneath your center and you're grabbing hair, okay? Pulling it with your left side. Now your left side will go under your center, and this has a little bit more hair because we gripped hair from that side. Then you're going to holding 1, 2 is your center, 3 is your outside. You're going to move from inside to outside, so left to right or right to left with the same size parting so that you get a nice smooth braid. and you're going to continue to grab that hair, holding the same tension. Why do we hold the tension on the hair? Maddie. If it's loose, it will cause bumps. And you just keep working your hair, grabbing your sections, making sure your middle stays. If you have to hold your middle out of the way, hold your middle out of the way. And then grab hair with your section. Your middle now goes to your right if you're left-handed. If you're left-handed, it goes to your. So you just keep moving down the strand, moving down the head. Pay attention to your client's face. If you grip really hard, I do grip very tight. You can see them. If you're gripping too tight, ask them sometimes throughout the braids, does this hurt? Is it too tight? You do want the braid to be tight so that you do have, it stays and lasts a long time, but you want to make sure too that you're not putting your client in pain. Especially if you do these for a softball team or a dance team, you don't want that little girl crying and taking it out. You just continue to do your motion where you're moving. Every time you move down the head, you are adding hair. Okay? So we're adding hair. I'm gonna kneel down a little bit because I made it too low. I'm just even partings. You can see those even partings throughout the entire head. And you can see that braid is on top of the head. Every time you grab hair from either the left or the right, you're adding hair. If you're right-handed, you're gonna be adding hair from the right, bringing it, moving your center. If you're left-handed, you're gonna grab from the left and move it. You're always adding hair as you're working down the head from start to finish. You're adding hair with every layer that you go down. It is extremely important to make sure that when you're gripping the hair, you grip the whole way, so that way you have a nice smooth section. You want your sections to be nice and smooth. You don't want there to be ridges on the hair. Okay? I don't have hair left out by the ear. This one is your visible.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the hair and I'm gripping and I'm going under and adding from the side. Okay? So I'm adding from the side. She is giving me a workout today, I can tell you that.
Definitely gonna have hand cramps.
Definitely.
Stretch.
You just
have to
keep
your
following.
hands on the head.
Yes, at all times you do not release your hands. If you release your hands, you will lose that grip. The same thing when you get to the bottom. You are going to go left, middle, right. Left, middle, right. Left, middle, right. You can tell I'm not even looking at it and I know where I'm taking that hair. Left, middle, right. Left, middle, right. Left, middle, right. You can do right, middle, left if you are right-handed. And you just braid it the whole way down until you run out of hair. You want your braid to be nice and smooth. You want to see those sectionings. This is a visible. You are going to notice your sections a lot more on a visible braid than you would an invisible braid. Invisible, think it's hiding. Okay? These are your braids. Does anybody have any questions? This is a, what is this? Invisible braid, yes. This one and this one is a visible. You can tell the difference. Okay, you will split the head and you will do one on each side. Your parting, you want to make sure your parting is nice and clean. You don't want hair. There might be times where they come in and they say, I want a zigzag part. We are not doing that for this demo. Okay, we're just doing straight. Front to back, straight down. Parting is imperative. You can tell if you don't have a nice clean part, how do you think this braid is gonna look? It's gonna look messy. It's not gonna look even. And your top part might actually turn if it's too loose in certain areas. Always regroup if you lose your spot, okay? Does anybody have any questions? We have two types of braids, invisible, visible. Okay, you have 3 days. This will be due on Wednesday, which I believe is January 30th? 31st, January 31st. So this will be due January 31st. You have 3 days to practice. If you get frustrated, walk away, regroup, come back and attempt again. Remember, this is your first time doing this. We don't want perfection. We want practice, 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 because when you do eventually do it, it's going to be like how I was braiding it, not even looking at the head. You will get there. Okay? All right. Let's get braiding.